And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Next up on Facebook, 3 rounds in the welterweight division. On his way to the cage first, fighting out of the blue corner. From Rhondda Valley, Wales, Kevin Reed.
And there is the figure of Kevin Reed representing 3D MMA. He comes with an 8-15 record. Reed is a 2-time MMA champion and former boxing champion, now representing his own gym from the Rhondda Valleys. Reed is a former student of Paul Sutherland of Trojan Free Fighters. He has fought and trained internationally and is a rugged competitor. This will be his 3rd Cage Warriors appearance, having suffered losses in those previous outings, but he will be buoyed by his last performance, where he is the only man to stop Peter Putasinski, who we saw at Cage Warriors Fight Night 7.
Yeah, what an accolade that is. Putasinski's been really making some waves, and Kevin Reed put him away in excellent fashion. He is extremely experienced, but has taken a lot of fights against some very tough guys domestically and in Europe, which is probably why his record perhaps doesn't do him justice. We first saw him jump back against Arnie Isaacson at Cage Warriors 14 February, which I think was the first show you and I actually called together. He's on a 2-fight win streak right now. As you mentioned, the win over Putasinski. I think he could be having a bit of resurgence here in 2012.
Well, he will certainly hope so. Very popular figure.
One thing to note, John, is in 23 fights, he's never been to a decision.
Wow. Impressive stats.
And his opponent tonight, making his way to the cage from the red corner, fighting out of Plymouth, England, Lee Caers.
Lee Caers.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, this bout scheduled for 3 rounds in the welterweight division. Introducing to you first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist standing 5 feet 11 inches tall. He weighed in officially 170 pounds even and enters the cage tonight for the 24th time as a professional from Rhondda Valley, Wales. Here is Kevin Reed. All right, next his opponent across the cage, fighting out of the red corner. Also a mixed martial artist, he stands 6 feet 1 inch tall. He weighed in 169 3/4 pounds and brings a professional record of 7 victories and 2 defeats. From Plymouth, England, here is Lee Caers. Referee in charge, Neil Hall.
Neil Hall has the pleasure of officiating this welterweight contest. We have Lee Caers in the black wrestling shorts and
guys,
Kevin Reed in the white and green. We are underway. Very experienced Kevin Reed, popular Welshman, representing his own team, 3D MMA, and Lee Caers representing Combat Athletics Academy, headed up by Mark Tucker.
Good change in level from Reed on the way in, got the takedown, but not able to secure his opponent on the ground. Good body lock here. The wizard defense coming in from Caers.
Very tight body lock, but really nice defense there by Caers.
Yeah, he's used that wizard to secure his hips back, but positioning himself very well behind the thigh was Kevin Reed. Uses it to secure a takedown into what looks like a very tight side control position here.
He would have been working with Denzel Thomas, who we will see a bit later on this evening, and another very experienced and seasoned competitor in mixed martial arts.
Kevin Reed did a good job there of turning his right hip to the ground to take some of the power out of the bridge, looking to move to mount, but just a bit too much space, allowing Caers to scramble back to his feet.
But he's got in it, he's sunk in a guillotine. That's looking really tight, Josh.
Yeah, he's really cranking, trying to get that elbow as high as he can.
A bit of an adjustment now so that Caers doesn't have his head to the mat.
Well, you can see a bit of space on the right artery there of Lee Caers. Perhaps not quite enough body control.
It's a shorter choke though, Josh, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. You've really got to try and sit your body up high and drive your forearm onto the shoulder to finish it.
Well, Caers with a deep breath as he escapes that first attempt at a submission. Good resolve from the man from Cornwall.
Well, Kevin Reed was quick to try and jump on the neck, but he's given up the bottom position here. Half guard with a butterfly hook. That's that right leg. You can see sitting into the inner thigh of Lee Caers. Looks as though he's working for a stand-up, trying to keep his opponent tight, not give him any space with which to posture up and strike.
And here comes that posture. Let's see what Caers can do from here. Very heavy-handed fighter. There's an elbow strike.
Yeah, Reid trying to get his hips up, create some space. I like the feet on the hips, though. It's very offensive guard.
Yeah, good body control there from Kevin Reid to slightly improve his position.
Attempt coming here. He's going to try and push off the cage. Sinking in deep. Caers has got to try and stack his weight down, not pull away.
He's trying to wrench his arm out. It's just past the elbow. Lucky high-risk manoeuvre, a defensive strategy.
It was a bit of power to try and get the elbow out from the crook of the hip. He really should have looked to drive forward, but it's the hip heist has given him the escape, and in on the single leg now is Kevin Reid.
Good aggressive jiu-jitsu from Kevin Reid on the bottom.
Yeah, it was good to show the intent to submit from the top and from the bottom, all that experience. He's got a bit of guillotine defense of his own to do here, though.
Yeah, big squeeze coming on from Lee Caers. Kevin Reid is there with his...
He is well under the throat. I don't see any hands coming to defend.
Yeah, it's getting tighter now. And Caers is being told by his corner that he's got him.
Oh, you can see Kevin Reid trying to...
Oh, that is tight now.
Wow.
Oh, well done, Mr. Reid.
Yeah, he tried to reach deep around the head to try and drive his weight back up, but there was a lot of pressure coming in from Lee Caers. Both gentlemen having very good submission attempts here in this first round.
So Reid now sitting in the guard of Lee Caers. Doesn't want to be in this position, and he's being told by his corner to stand up. However, Kevin Reid has other ideas, stepping through.
A good scrambling from both
good use of
fighters here.
I was going to say good use of defence by Caers, but Kevin Reid took care of that.
Yeah, it was that head position, John, that just kept him pinned, and now he's got the mount position. A bit of time to work here as he sinks his hips. It's very low on Lee Caers.
He gets those grapevines in to really stop the movement from the bottom, and that kind of effect, however, it's working in Reid's favour if he can get the hooks for the back mounts.
Yeah, he's going to look again to sink the hips, try and flatten his opponent out. Good work from Caers to try and retain some sort of guard here. He's done a good job of turning back over, but he finds himself in a mount position again. He's got to keep his arms in. Doesn't want to overextend those, leave himself vulnerable to submission attempts, especially since Reid showed the intention to jump on them quickly.
15 seconds left in this opening round. And Kevin Reid is doing very well at staying heavy on Caers.
Yeah, good control from Kevin Reid here at the end of the round.
Bloodied the nose of Caers.
Stop fighting.
Well, back and forth tussle in this welterweight contest.
Yeah, both guys look like they really had those opportunities with the guillotine submissions, both opting for what we call a Marcellitine. Here's the armbar defense.
Well, the armbar was in pretty deep, and as you said, he was just sort of shrugging his man out and managed to get his arm free. Why was this not finished here, Josh?
It seems as though Kevin Reid was just able to drive his neck deep enough to take some of the leverage away. You can see at this point the right arm of Lee Caers has got to start driving as high as possible at this point. And Kevin Reid just able to create enough space to pop his head out.
And towards the end of the round, Kevin Reid finished strongly with the mount position, clearly throwing in some damage as we see the bloodied after effects on Lee Caers.
Ready, rest, let's go.
So Neil Hall is called to action for the second round, scheduled for 3.
Well, a good pace on that first round. Those guillotine attacks and defenses are going to have put a bit of lactic acid into the arms of both fighters here, and you can see their movements are a little more sluggish already here in the second round.
Bit of a lazy head kick attempt from Lee Caers, and Kevin Reid got right underneath it.
Lee Caers could attack a number of submissions here, most notably a triangle if he can get that leg out. Looks as though he might try and turn over for an armbar here, though. Bit of an odd position he finds himself in.
He pushes off, seeing he has no advantage. Kevin Reid wary of the up kick, lands in the guard.
Needed to sort of walk his hip forward a bit more, try and keep his head out of danger, but he's plunged into the
Well,
guard
guys,
of Lee
let's work.
Caers here. Showing good intention to progress his position, step over that leg, and you can see how he immediately puts the shoulders of Lee Caers on the floor and flattens him out.
I thought that Kevin Reid might have been setting up a head and arm.
Just a little too sloppy with that pass attempt, and he gave his opponent the chance to buck him over. We've seen his intention to throw submissions off his back, though, so...
Nice high
he's
guard, Josh.
working for an armbar again here. He's going to look... Oh, triangle transition, possibly. There's a lot of options for him here. That right arm of Lee Caers is in a lot of danger. He's got to try and square himself back up with his opponent.
Keep following the hips of his opponent so that he never gets off at one angle where he can leave an arm
Come on,
susceptible.
guys, get busy.
Really good intention from Kevin Reid. Put the feet on the hips, use those to drive off, create that angle to attack the submissions.
And Lee Caers looking to dump himself into a strong position in the half guard at the moment.
Looking to threaten the neck. And really, it's just a tactic to take the mind off the legs, secure the pass as much as possible.
There's a smoke screen, if you like.
Right, hand on the elbow, hand on the elbow.
That's the art of jiu-jitsu, always thinking a couple of moves ahead.
Yeah, what kind of traps can you set for your opponent? If I push, is he going to pull? It's you know, it's a bit of a chess game. It's a bit cliche to say that now, but it really is.
Come on, guys, work.
What makes it even more interesting with mixed martial arts is you add in the strikes, and that's how you can win and lose in so many ways in this wonderful sport.
Toes in the
Kevin
fence.
Reid is doing a great
Toes.
job of making Lee Caers think. Again, his left arm's in a lot of danger here. He's going to spin all the way through for this armbar attempt. That is deep, and Lee Caers has got nowhere to go with his rollout here.
It's in a very, very bad spot.
Oh, he's in a lot of trouble. He's got to try and walk his hips back around.
2 minutes to work.
This position, Kevin Reid's not quite able to engage his hips. He needs to try and clear a leg.
It's a bit of physics here, Josh. That is the point of the elbow, is the fulcrum, if you like, is not where it needs to be in order to set this up as a true armbar.
Yeah, it's as much as well that he can't quite engage the hips as much as he'd like. If he can get any kind of pop on them, it's very hard for Lee Caers to defend this position because he's tied up so awkwardly and the cage is in his way. If he tries to forward roll out of this, he's just going to get stuck and the submission's going to be a bit worse.
Looks like that has been abandoned.
Kevin Reid opting to give it up. He's got a single leg if he can turn in now, though.
Both of these fighters are looking a little laboured now.
A lot of energy going into these grappling exchanges. May look static, but there's a lot of hip movement. Well, seatbelt control here for Lee Caers, but he's
let it go.
Oh, and he's grabbed a rear naked choke without the hooks. That was sneaky from Lee Caers.
Well, if he's got a good enough squeeze, Josh,
yeah, anything
across
is
the
possible.
face.
Under the chin now. What a bizarre position they've ended up in, but on the neck is on the neck nonetheless.
Like a schoolyard headlock.
Yeah, it's almost like a bulldog choke, but in a guillotine position.
And now we see that Kevin Reid has really spent some energy. He's not responding.
Lee Caers finding a second win here. He senses the finish might be coming his way if he can turn up the pressure. A lot of good strikes from this side wedge position.
Caers is pouring it on now, really upping the intensity. Taking a look at Neil Hall, the referee, and that is it. Lee Caers is victorious at Cage Warriors 49. What a hard-fought battle between these two welterweights. Kevin Reid so aggressive with his submission attempts. Nearly had it there with the armbar, but Lee Caers showing how durable he is. Steps over, gets his arm safe, reverses and punches his way to victory.
Yeah, Lee Caers, once he saw the opportunity to finish there, did a great job of sinking all the weight of his left hip onto Kevin Reid, keeping him pinned. And at that point, it was just how many punches can I throw until the referee's seen enough.
That really was a lot of heart on demonstration there from Lee Caers. He had been in some really tight spots. And here is Lee Caers with that setup. Nice and heavy on Reid and just a number of unanswered strikes. He kept going with that, really throwing in. And that was enough for Neil Hall, who had seen enough. Kevin Reid was not intelligently defending himself, and that renders Lee Caers the winner.
4 minutes, 52 seconds, round number 2, stoppage due to strikes. Your winner by TKO victory, Lee